This is the lock-picking newbie, and what I have for you today is a brief discussion about bent picks, which I did talk about a little bit in a prior video, and then I'll also see if we can get a pick out of this ABIS 5540. But first, I want to thank again everyone for participating in the channel, watching the videos, subscribing to the channel, and making comments. It's really very interesting and educational to hear what you think about the videos and your comments and technical information. So thank you very much for that. Okay, bent picks. So I have been picking locks for a little while. I was using Sparrow's picks with no handles, and I started to suspect I might be bending my pick. So this here is from the SS Dev set, and if I can get the this to line up, you can see that it's got quite a bend in it. Now, this particular pick, I'm not sure if that bend was designed into the pick or not. But I also have my favorite pick, which is basically like a #1 hook. And I started to notice, hey, there's a little bend in there. And let's see if I can use this to show it. And I sort of suspected that maybe that's not supposed to be bent right there. So I ordered another one. This is also my favorite, basically a #1 pick. And when we put the straight edge on it, sure enough, look at that, no gap. Look at this. Got that big old gap. I do not fault Sparrows for this. I fault me. If you notice in some of my prior videos, I really kind of crank on the picks, and I've been thinking about why I was doing that. And one of the big reasons is because I like to hear that click. And so once I get a pin moving, I tend to crank up the tension and crank up the pick force, and then when it drops into the shear line, it makes that very satisfying click. Maybe we won't do that so much anymore. So I did actually order a bunch of new picks. These are Peterson, as you can tell. This is a #1 in 25 thousandths, and then a Gem #1, 4, and 7 in 18 thousandths. And as you can see, all of these picks are straight. No gaps, both sides. So we're gonna find out if I'm bending any of these picks. But I do like these picks. The handles definitely add to the comfort. And let's see what we can do on this ABIS 5540 with it. All right, so I'm gonna start from the back. Kind of a little crunchy click out of 3. Click out of 2, sort of a false set. I'm gonna go back to, there we go, better false set. I think I'm back on 4 again. Yeah, so we gotta, now something I learned about this lock, and I might do another video, and that is the we're gonna get the ping pong right now. Okay, so here's what's happened. I'm in a false set, and I've got pin 1 set, which is just has a serration in it, not a spool. And then 3 and 4 are set, but 2 is up in a spool. So if you look for the counter rotation, okay, so I got 2 and it got open. So normally, when I get in that situation where I just have a spool left, I often, as I'm setting that spool, drop either another spool or pin 1. And I have spent, I cannot tell you, a lot of time where I'll get a spool and I'll get a false set, and then I go to take the last spool and it releases a spool or it releases the serrated pin, and I get into this cycle. It's quite frustrating. Didn't happen this time. But I have 5 of these 5540 locks, and as I go, even though they're only 4 pins, they are teaching me subtle picking, not using too much tension, not using too much force on the pick. And you saw a good example there of getting through that pretty quick. The other thing I've learned about getting out of the ping pong cycle is to start with, even though like the gatekeeper pin or the serrated or the standard pin might be binding, go ahead and set some spools first and then go to that one and maybe it'll open. So I don't think that's very scientific. I'm sure that there's a much more deterministic way of getting through these locks, and by golly, I'm going to figure it out. But in any case, that is all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching. I'm very interested to see your comments down below. And in the meantime, have a nice day. This is the Lockpicking Newbie.